So yesterday, this was before the Cleveland Cavaliers got eliminated from the playoffs. By the way, the Cavs, a squad that had won 64 games during the regular season. They faced their injuries. They did. But Indiana also, they stole game 2. I don't know how the Cleveland Cavaliers were not able to finish that game. Game 2 was basically the series. They went down 0-2. But they had injuries. Darius Garland, Evan Mobley. I know Hunter got injured as well. Donovan Mitchell looked like he was just basically limping and laboring. Didn't play in the second half of game 4. And yesterday, whatever he was putting up was just sheer determination. The Cavs are out. So the Cavs are done. Listen to this yesterday. Nick Wright was on with Colin Cowherd, and I want to play this clip because Nick Wright is basically making a case that if you're LeBron James, what is it at this stage of your career that's most important? By the way, I think it's a fair question. What is it that's most important? You and I, we just talked about how tough the West is going to be. We just talked about how competitive it's going to be, how tough it's going to be. Take a listen to Nick Wright and him making a case here. Maybe LeBron should look elsewhere other than the Los Angeles Lakers. And frankly, I think there's a lot of Laker fans that would be okay with it. Take a listen here.
If you are LeBron James going into year 23 and you're surveying the landscape and you're like, well, I plan to stay in Los Angeles. I want to stay in Los Angeles. But that team from my home state that won 64 games and then got clocked in round 2 like it has every year since I was gone that they actually made the playoffs, out east where Boston is a non-factor, where Giannis might leave, where I could just be the conquering hero back home once again and sign with them for nothing to, in year 23, get my 5th championship and certainly my 11th trip to the finals, it's at least worth considering. Now, you'd have to convince maybe the Cavs that what they're going to have to trade for Bronny, but aside from that, it works quite well. It's something to think about.
Yeah. All right, let's stop it right there. Okay, listen, I'm going to go back to what I was saying here, jacking up my levels here. Who's jacking up these? Al, that's you. That's you screwing up the levels. All right, let me lob your opinion in this. Okay, lob your opinion in here. Listen, I'm gonna give you guys my own opinion on this. If you told me today LeBron's career with the Lakers, he's got one more year left with the Lakers. All right, roll the ball back out. Let's see what the Lakers are able to do. LeBron is still very, very effective. LeBron is still very, very good. Before LeBron, I thought got that injury against the Celtics. I thought LeBron was probably top 7 in the NBA. That's how good he was playing this season. And I don't think the Lakers suffered because of LeBron. I don't think it was LeBron's fault why the Lakers struggled this year. All right, let me play out that scenario. If you told me LeBron said, hey, guys, 7 years in LA, I was a Laker for 7 years, I'm moving on. You know, there's either he retired or which I don't think he's going to retire, or he says, you know what, I'm going to play out exactly what Nick Wright just said here. I'm going to go back to Cleveland. I'm going to go back to where I'm originally from, where I did win an NBA championship. That squad is completely set up. And you know who they're missing? They're missing me. And if I can go back there, and I think the points that he was making about, listen, the Jason Tatum injury is a real injury. That's an injury that has a drastic effect on the entire Eastern Conference. And I think everything was running through the Boston Celtics. I mean, I know before his injury, they're basically getting ready to be down 3-1. But nobody, I think not many people thought the Knicks would beat the Boston Celtics. The Giannis thing, I think, is wildly interesting. If he decided that he was going to go to the Cleveland Cavaliers and he was going to take a wildly amount of less money to go ahead and make that happen, I get it. Okay. And you know what I would do as a Laker fan? I'd say, okay, so now start building this entire roster around Luka Doncic and start doing everything you possibly can to kind of churn that next chapter and move forward. I'm good with either. I mean, you know, for me, I'm looking at the Western Conference, and unless drastic things happen this offseason, you don't have to be crazy drastic. You just have to be, you got to find all the pieces that fit, and then kind of everything else has to work out perfectly. Everything else has to work out perfectly. Everybody's healthy. Luka's in the best shape of his life. JJ Redick learns from some of his mistakes. They are able to come up with trades that are perfect fits on the team. LeBron is great again in his 23rd season. I mean, you're asking for a lot in order for this upcoming season to come. And you look at the situation, the predicament, you say, okay, hey, Lakers got a legitimate shot of beating OKC, Denver, San Antonio, Dallas, go down the list of all the teams that we're talking about, Houston. I'm not losing sleep over either. I'm not. And by the way, I'm a LeBron fan. I'm a LeBron fan. I think a lot of times that people are too critical on LeBron James. Laker fans are too critical. I'm like, you know what? People are always bitching and complaining about LeBron either way. But what Nick Wright just laid out, do I think that's going to happen? No, I don't. I think LeBron's staying in LA. I think LeBron keeps telling us he's staying in LA until he's done. It's just a question of if we want to believe him or not. And I listen, I do believe him. I do think he'll probably eventually stay in LA. But it's interesting. The way the Cavs went out, 64-team win. You know what they're missing? They're missing LeBron. If you told me LeBron was on that team, if LeBron wanted to, and listen, the Cavs would make it happen, I think, in a heartbeat. If LeBron wanted to, if LeBron told the Cavs, hey, listen, I'm interested in coming back here, make a couple tweaks and changes, try to get as much money as you can freed up, blah, 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 and I'll figure out a way to come here, and let me see if I could go get my 5th NBA championship. The question is, I just don't know if that's on LeBron's top priority list. I don't think for LeBron at this stage of his career, his number one priority is winning a championship. I just don't know, because if it was, I don't know if it's going to happen in LA. I think for Bron, if you start looking at what his top priorities are, I want to raise my family in LA. I want to continue the business ventures that I have. I don't want to, lob back and forth from Cleveland to LA and all that stuff. I think those things are more important. It's not to say that LeBron is not still highly motivated to win an NBA championship, but he's only got so much juice that he can, figure out. I think also the fact that Luka's on the team now, there is a part of Laker fans and there is a part of this fan base that's also saying to themselves, when will we go 100% building around Luka? That's going to come sooner or later. That's obviously, that's either going to come in a year or it's going to come in 2 years, or maybe it's going to start this summer where they start that complete rebuilding process to every move we make accommodates one guy. That's what Dallas did when they were, when Luka was in Dallas. That's what the Mavs did. And the Mavs found themselves in the Western Conference Finals, and then they found themselves in the NBA Finals. Did they win it all? They didn't. That's no, of course they didn't. But should they have blown up the roster after they got to the NBA Finals? I think everybody would agree that that probably wasn't the smartest decision. All right, let's take a look at some of the comments. By the way, I say this, and I should have probably prefaced before I started this. I'm not telling you that I think that's going to happen, but I do think it's an interesting proposition. And I think if LeBron right now was saying to himself, all right, I've been here for 7 years with the Lakers. I did win an NBA championship. Clearly, the team went a different direction, whether he agreed with it, didn't agree with it. Anthony Davis was his guy. Clearly, the Lakers are now kind of going to start focusing all their attention around Luka Doncic. That's exactly what they should be doing. That's no shot at LeBron. I think it's interesting. And I think the fact that the Cavs got eliminated in the second round of the playoffs after they won 64 games also is an interesting. It's not like we're talking about the Pistons. No, we're talking about the Cavs, where he's originally from, where he's got obviously history, where he'll have a statue, and where he won an NBA championship. All right, let's take a look at some of the comments here. Let's see what we got here. Cleveland would be like a retirement home for LeBron. He would only need 20 minutes a game during the regular season. Okay. Let's see one here. Bron is making too much money in LA. He ain't leaving. By the way, you're not wrong from that perspective, because he'll probably get 52 million. I think 52 million, 52 or 54. But I think if he is it 54? It might be 54. And if he does that 1+1 that we've talked about, who was it? I was on with Eric Pincus was on here. We're talking about most likely what is LeBron going to do. LeBron will most likely cut up that contract that he has with the Lakers and sign another 1+1. And he'll put himself in a position where, all right, I'm going to make 54 this year, and then I have the option of making another 54 next year. Let's see what we got here. LeBron enjoys the fact that y'all think he put the Cavs over the top. That's all there. Know that he ain't going. He just likes it. Okay, let's see what else we got here. We traded all our young talented guys to appease LeBron. Kind of had to. You didn't have a choice. The bubble championship is not BS, just like the Spurs 1999 50-game lockout season isn't BS. This is what having LeBron on the Lakers, all types of bullshit thrown up. It's all nonsense. I think this is an interesting conversation. Again, I don't think it's going to happen, but I think it's interesting just for the mere fact that it's Cleveland and how the Cavs went out. That's it. No other reason. This isn't me saying that LeBron would go to Detroit or he'd go to the Milwaukee Bucks or he'd go to the Orlando Magic or he'd go to Boston. No. This is more just the franchise that he used to play for, that one of the more iconic championships ever, in NBA history, down 3-1. He wins a championship. They hadn't won a chip, I think, in Cleveland in 50 years or something like that. If you look at all the sports, it's more for those reasons. All right, thank you very much for watching the clip. Just want to give a shout out here to one of our partners, the Wallace Firm. They are official injury attorney of the Sliwa Show and Hoops Talk, the entire channel. If you are ever in a need, and I hope you're not, but some type of serious injury with yourself or a family member of yours, I would like to personally help you by introducing you to the best in the business, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Also got a URL out here that you can use as well. Just go to wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Thank you for their partnership, and thank you for being a part of the Sliwa Show.